Super Dave here for another review.
Super Dave here with another exciting special review. Today we're going to be looking at Nathan Summers' Marvel's Cable, and it is the amazing Yamaguchi by Revoltech action figure, which looks really cool, awesome articulation, and we're going to be taking a look at this figure right now. Here's just a quick look at the box. You have some artwork on the sides. He's just trying to stay alive. All those cool poses and features and accessories that he's showing there. Another pose there. Another pose with some legalese on the back. A head shot, side shot head of the head on the top with a little window. Let's break it open. And here we are in our future laboratory in the future, where Nathan Summers' Cable was sent because he had been infected by some form of techno-organic virus. And so here is our Cable, and he needed some kind of cure to not die. He's just trying to stay alive. And so he becomes a mutant with all this cybernetic enhancements that he receives to cure his virus. But he also has telekinetic abilities, which basically means he can affect physical matter, physical things without touching them, which that's also really cool. One of the things that I wanted to mention and note is that he also comes with this really cool poster. And check out the artwork on there. That is just really sharp, just really neat artwork on this poster. I just think that's really cool. And you notice this, the browns on these buckles and belts and stuff, as well as on Cable's boots here. That is kind of what I want to do with this figure. Once I finish reviewing him, I want to paint some of these yellows. I mean, the yellow looks very, best way to put it is probably, the yellow looks very comic book-esque, but I want to enhance his realism just a little bit. I really love this character and the way he's designed, but those yellows are just a little bright for my taste. So I'm going to actually paint some of those yellows, the browns, like you see on the boot there. See if we can give it just a little bit more realism. Look at the muscles, a tricep there in that right arm. And we're going to zoom on in here. See the veins. Just really good detail in the shading, the paint, the texturing that is on this outfit. I just really like it. Look, check out that metal arm. It's actually plastic, but the shading and the metallic paint that is used, just the muscularity, chiseled jaw there of his face, the hair, the wash that's there, just the trim, those little grenades that are strapped to his belts there, and the bullets here on the side, as well as big oversized bullets that go with his giant cannon type guns. I mean, he's just decked out. He's got so many accessories and options to be able to pose and articulate this character. We're going to be taking a look at all of it, and it's just really neat. I love the texturing, that blue and that red trim just really looks good. And he's here in the future in this lab where he has received these amazing cybernetic enhancements so that he doesn't die of this techno-virus, techno-organic virus that he had. I guess it's, you know, right along with the pandemic season in America and around the world. We can kind of believe this, other than maybe the techno part. But anyway, let's first take a look at Cable's accessories. Alright, so the first thing we notice is Cable comes with these two silver metallic looking pistols, and you see those little gray things there on the below them. Those will tab into the holes on the side of his legs so that you can then holster those two pistols. And the suitcase in the back does not come with him. That's just a prop up there. Then he comes with two left-handed metal accessory hands there that will, one that's kind of like a pistol with a pointer finger type pistol holding with a trigger finger, and then one with kind of an open grabbing looking ability. And then he comes with an alternate head, that angry looking head with the really cool, that effect that he has with his eye on that right eye, and left eye rather. And then also these gloves that come with his right hand, which is again a kind of a pointer finger slash trigger finger hand there, and then a grappling hand. And then you see those really cool cannon looking guns he comes with. A big cannon looking gun, and then another machine gun looking gun that he comes with. You can actually transform these. You can have them as separate guns. You can actually create one big gun, or you can transform it into a different kind of gun, individual gun. So it's just really cool what you can do, the options here. And he comes with a stand and some extra Revoltech joints and tabs there for whatever you might need there. So that is really cool. And as you see there, as he comes back around here on the legs, those actually come off. They will tab right off of there. And then you can just plug that right inside of that hole, and then take your pistol, which has like a hole where the trigger finger would be, and then you can tab that right into the side there, where he's able to almost like holster that gun by sticking that hole into the tab, and it slides right into place. It's really neat. So there you have it holstered on the side there, and that's one of the features. And so there are both of those tabbed in there. You have both holsters, and so on both sides of the legs there. So all I did is just unplug those little pouches that he comes with, and then plug those holsters and plug in those individual pistols that he comes with. So that's really cool. That's just getting us started on what you're able to do with this amazing cable. So we're going to be getting to the articulation in just a minute, but before we do, let's go ahead and check another feature that you need to know about this figure as part of his accessories, and that is his eye. Now that could be kind of accounted as a articulation, but I'm going to go ahead and cover it now. So let me show you what I'm talking about. All right, to show you what I was talking about, let's look at the alternate head here that has the larger effect piece there on the left eye. But that right eye, if you see there, it's looking straight ahead. It's kind of a bluish green eye there. But if you turn it upside down here, you're going to notice back in there there's a little white ball with a hole in it. And then it comes with this little toothpick looking tool here, one with a hook on the end, and then one with it has a straight edge on the other end. And so what you do is you actually put that little piece inside and you hook on there, and then you're able to maneuver that eye in the direction that you want to look, left or right or up or down. So let me show you what I'm talking about. There you see the eye is looking up. There you see the eye looking down. And you see that eye looking more toward his right, upper right. And then you see his eye looking toward his left, kind of upper left. So you can move that eye around just by simply maneuvering that little tool back there inside of that little hole. And both heads will do that same thing. And while I'm up close here, I'll go ahead and show you that you can remove that piece. It plugs right out, and then you can put the smaller piece that's presently in the other alternate head's eye. You can remove that smaller piece and put it inside of this other head instead of having the large one. So those are interchangeable. Those are interchangeable. You can swap those out. One of the things that I think is really cool about these two pegs that he comes with is you can plug them into these blasters right here in those holes right there, and then the other one right here. And then you can take your cable figure and you can plug those blasters into his back right there in those little holes back there. And those will bend, so you can adjust them how you want to. And of course, they're going to be a little tight. I have to heat them up a little bit. Not sure. There we go. It plugged in that time. On that side, and of course you can kind of manipulate it out of the way and then plug in. And so now you've got them both plugged in there on his back, and then you can of course swivel them from side to side, and they also have a hinge, so you can hinge them and kind of position them where you want to. You can have them separated like that, still have room for something back there, or you can maneuver it just like so. So you can plug those in either one of those holes. Of course, there's another hole back here as well, so that's kind of cool. Let's see what he looks like from the front. That's neat. So he can actually hold his machine, his heavy machinery weapons on his back if you would like him to, using these included pegs. And he still has one more as well. The instruction manual also has inside the way you can transform and manipulate the weapons. So there's like 3 different options, it looks like here, of how you can transform your weapon into one big giant gun, or even manipulate the 2 individual ones differently. And of course it's in a different language, but you can kind of go by the diagram. So let's try that out. Alright, so that first machine gun breaks down into 5 different sections. And then our second machine gun only breaks down into 2 parts, 1 and 2. But it has the ability, you can hinge these forward right here, which reveals a scope. And then you can also flip this piece back, and it will transform itself into a different machine gun. And notice those little rivets that are painted, those are just painted silver, but it's got that accent. Now that one actually is a hinge there, but some of these are just painted, and it just gives a lot of nice detail. I like that scope. I love that gunmetal color. It's got a kind of a shimmer to it and some sparkles in there to make it look like real gunmetal. It's really cool. So now let's see what we can do about transforming these 2 into 1. Looking at another transformation you can do with this gun, just playing around with it here, is you can flip that back and you can add that part, and then you have a long machine gun using this piece here. So that's pretty cool. Alright, we're going to attempt this. So first of all, take your base gun, which these need to be flipped forward, and this needs to be flipped out. So there's your base, that's where you start with. And then you're first going to take this part right here, it looks like this, and you're going to plug it into the scope. And then you're going to take this, which is reversed from what it was before, and you're going to plug it right there. And then you're going to take this piece and you're going to plug it in right there, and that's going to fit together right there. And this is the difficult part right here, because there's nothing really for this to plug into. So what you do is you take these parts here, which have 2 pegs sticking out, and then there's peg holes here, and then you peg these in. So what I want to do is first of all peg it into the top here, like so. We'll peg that one in there, and then I'm going to peg this into the rifle right there into that hole, if I can get it lined up. And when you get it lined up correctly, it's going to look like that on that side, and then you turn it around and you do the same exact thing on this side. You're going to line up the holes, plug it into the top one and the bottom one, and when you get them plugged up, there you have your giant machine gun. So he could hold it up here. There's a handle here, handle there, and there's supposed to be a little handle here based on the instructions, but I've not been able to find it, so I'm not sure if that, and I'll show you here on the instructions, little J right here. But if that becomes necessary, I think I can substitute it for one of these pegs and use it like that if I have to, so that will work. But based on the way it looks in the instructions, there should be a separate piece that plugs in there so he can, you know, hold it here and here. So but anyway, there you have it. There's how it transforms, and there's actually other variations I believe that you can achieve here But that's the one that the instructions instruct. That's, you know, the directions that you're able to get out of the instructions of building this particular giant. That's taking all the pieces from both guns and making one giant gun. Really cool. Okay, to remove his head, you're simply going to be able to pop off this part right here, and then you're going to have this little hair part that's just floating around back here in the back. And so what you just do is you take the next head and you just pop it over that peg again. So when you pop the next one on there, the little hair part floats and you've got it there. And that way you can, I guess that's, even though it gives you a gap back there, I guess that allows your head to look up more, is what I believe that function is for. So it's not restricted by the hair. If the hair was not a separate piece, it probably hit that collar and you wouldn't be able to look up as much. I believe that is the purpose of that. But we'll go over that in articulation. And to give you an idea of what he looks like holding this monstrosity of a gun with that other alternate head on, like the angry look, holding that gun, he's getting ready to blast somebody, and he's got the pistols strapped to the holsters on his side. Pretty much everything is attached to him now. Also switched out those trigger finger hands. Since I couldn't find that one part that it said I should have, I did use one of these tabs right here to substitute it on the side, and that's what he's holding with his silver arm, his silver hand. He's holding that side piece that was able to plug right in there. So even though I did not have that piece to come with mine, I don't believe, I was able to substitute. As you see there, he's holding it on the side. So that worked out good. And that is a monstrosity of a weapon. So you can either have two cool looking machine guns. One of them can transform by itself into a longer version, or you can transform both of them together into this monstrosity, this huge machine gun, and it's just really cool looking. So there you have it. Now let's look at Cable's articulation. All right, so as we get ready to look at our Cable's articulation, just wanted you to check it out. I mean, he can do just about anything with his articulation. It's really going to be impressive, as you'll see. But also, I wanted to mention that these clothes, that plastic that's on his chest and his abs, his crotch, his pants, that's textured, that blue, I mean, it looks so realistic that it almost looks like you're dealing with a Mezco toy, which, you know, where they put real clothes, but you're not. And they do have a cable. But this is actually a plastic figure, but that texturing is just so well done. But anyway, getting into articulation, let's go ahead and take a closer look at our Cable here. Bring him on in here. Looking first at his head, you can see that he is able to look all the way up. And as we mentioned, that floating hair piece at the bottom, that allows it to cave in so that he does not hit that collar until this part maybe hits this right here, and even that you can go underneath it and get that look that you want him being able to look all the way up. I mean, that's just outstanding. That's excellent. And then likewise, it shifts down so that you can look all the way down. Your Cable can look all the way down. You can look at his shoelaces, his boots, and just look at the texturing and the wash on that hair. Just looks really good. I think that looks excellent. Very impressed with this figure on that. But also, I mean, you're going to be able to get pivoting, get some expression, some attitude going on. You're just going to be able to get a full range of motion. And that neck is also on a ball joint, so you're going to be able to get that neck to go into the abilities as well. So you can do a kind of a gooseneck look there. You're going to be able to look to the side. I mean, just anything that you want to do, and it just really hides, I think, the you know, your lines, your creases and your gaps very well. You're not going to have any of that. So it's just really nice job with the head. I mean, just, you know, anything that you want to do, you're going to be able to do with this head all the way around. Very nice. All right, moving on to the arms. Now this part right here, I did have to use a little putty. It kept popping off, And that's even after using some Elixir or some of the Pledge Revive It floor gloss, which will harden and help with loose joints on action figures. But it is working for now using that little bit of putty because it just kept popping off on me. Now you are going to be able to get, and there it goes again, you are going to be able to get a full 360, but you're going to have to work on this. You're going to have to kind of work it back and forth, and I won't do it on camera here because it's just so tedious to work it back and forth to get that right. But see, this part here that keeps popping off mine, it covers up that ball joint there, so you see how that functions. But it really works well once if you can get it to stay on. But you're going to have a simulated bicep swivel here at the arm. You're going to have single jointed elbows because you do have that ball joint in there as well, so it almost simulates a double joint because you have a joint here, a hinge there, and a joint up in there. So you see what I mean, it's going to bend that way and that way, so I guess you could call that double jointed. You're going to have a swivel here at the forearm, and also you're going to have the ability to swivel at the elbow, so both of those work really well. And of course you've got those hinge ball joints at the wrist as well, which is going to be able to get you in any direction that you want to go in that way also. So putting that back on here for a moment, I did want to pop this part off for you and show you that ball joint that pops in here, and then this. So what that's going to simulate here is it's going to be able to go down and up, down and up, so it gives you an up and down section there, and also a little bit of a butterfly joint. You're going to be able to see just how far around he's able to wrap his arm in front of him like that right there. So you see, and it still hides that ball joint pretty well as long as you get it about right there. And if you go back here, you're going to be able to see it. But you see that hides those hinges and joints and balls very well there, as you can get a great range of motion. You're just going to have to be mindful of all these little individual parts. Okay, moving on to the next side, you have this shoulder pad thing, and it is also on a little plastic small ball joint, so you want to be careful with that, but it hides that flesh tone ball joint down in back in there. And so as you're moving that around, you want to make sure that you get that out of the way, because you are going to be able to get, you know, up as far as about right there before it hits this part, hits this, unless you remove that, and it will pop out. But I've not popped mine off because I'm having so much trouble this side. I don't want to loosen up this side, but the rest is the same. You have that same ability to kind of shift up and down right here, and move back and forth like a little bit of a butterfly joint right here, as well as, of course, that ball joint which gets the like the simulation of a butterfly, and bicep swivel. Got the almost a double jointed type elbow situation. There's just unique joints on a Revoltech, but boy are they functional if you can keep them together, keep them from falling off. Just like this is articulated right here, it is belt. You can see how that articulates. It's on a hinge, it's on a ball joint there, and you can move that all around to get that out of the way on both sides. You see that pops right into that little belt buckle part there. All right, moving on to his diaphragm and chest area. This is really nice. I mean, just check that out, just how much motion you get there. That is just phenomenal. So you're going to be able to bend forward that much there. You're going to be able to bend backwards that much there, just like that. And you're going to be able to twist side to side as long as you're able to get these things out of the way. And then you also have a waist bend, so you're going to be able to bend forward that much with the waist. And then if you add the crunch feature at the diaphragm, you're going to be able to go that much forward, and that will catch on the belt, so you have to be careful. But once you clear that back there, you can bend it about that much back with the waist bend, and then when you add the ab crunch, you're going to be able to bend back about that much there forward. So you don't really have much of a twist. It goes just a little bit side to side, but not a lot of turn there in the waist. So that's where you get into that. Now, moving on to the legs. You do not have a drop down method or anything, but you don't really need it. And I've moved all of the holsters and guns out of the way, by the way, but you do have a thigh swivel up in here. But then if you hold that thigh, you even have a thigh cut which allows that to go out like that. Now, as far as the pure splits, you're going to be able to get about that far. But if you incorporate that turn, that little thigh cut up here at the top, you're going to be able to go all the way out and all the way out on both sides like that. So you're going to be able to get a lot of function out of those upper legs. And then again, you have the thigh swivel, so you'll be able to turn either direction there. You'll be able to go back about that far before it hits back here is gluteus maximus. Speaking of that, he only has a single jointed knee, but as you see, it gets the job done. He goes way back with that knee joint and way forward, going up like that. You get good range, as you can tell there, and that's for both legs. You do not have a thigh cut here, which is surprising with all that does have, but I don't think you need it because of all the other areas that you're given. But then you do have the ability to do a boot cut right here. You have a boot cut, but not just a boot cut. There's even on a ball joint, so you're going to be able to move that calf muscle area back and forward and get some more precision in your standing, more than you could get with an ankle pivot alone. But as you can see, that's on a ball joint as well, and you're going to be able to get excellent rockers going both ways, both directions, and you're going to be able to get excellent going up there until it hits that upper part of the boot. You're also going to be able to get great I guess you could call it, like, you know, tiptoes again. It clears out of the way there, that forward facing pin, and then you used to even get toe cut there, the toe bend there that goes forward. So you're just able to get a lot with this action figure in terms of your articulation. You just have to maneuver everything, just kind of work it very well and very easily and very carefully, I should say, throughout the process of trying to get your poses done. And hopefully I can find a solution on mine as far as keeping this ball joint pinned to his upper shoulder on that side, but we'll figure that out. That's not a hard fix. But there you have his articulation. I think I hit all the points. There is a lot of articulation on this action figure, and one of the things I will mention as we're in the articulation is with this particular hand, so that it actually has the peg hole at an angle instead of straight into that hand. It's at an angle. It's almost like the peg is going up into the thumb, so it has that angle when you plug it in for him to be able to hold his weapons perfectly. So that's very interesting, I thought, as well. So just thought I'd mention that. It's almost as if, I have to say, they thought of everything as far as being able to get awesome articulation with this Cable action figure. And here we are, my friends, in this futuristic laboratory where we are checking out a final look at this Cable action figure, and he is really, really cool indeed. Just really nice. I love the articulation. I love his texturing. I love his overall style and look. I think they did a phenomenal job. I love the fact that you can place even that huge machine gun and strap it to his back there, as you can see. Just love the texturing of his clothing. I would love to, and I understand it goes along with the comic book look, but I would like him to have toned it down on the yellow a little bit, just because it's kind of bright. But I'm going to paint that brown, I believe, and I may be able to get that picture up here before I finish this review. But just really cool action figure. Cool set here that we're using with the die prints, ubiquitous sets. That's dieprints.com. Ubiquitous. You can get Big Bad Toy Store. Also, I've got some extreme sets, several extreme sets here. The Sector 7 and Sector 6 extreme sets being used here to put together the Space Lab. So just really cool. Now let's check out our Cable alongside of some of these other really neat looking action figures from various lines and see what you think. All right, and to measure in our Cable action figure, he measures in right at that 6 3/4 section, right at that 6 3/4 height mark there. If you look at it dead on there, just under the 7-inch mark. And here's our Cable figure with our Iron Man Mark II in the silver suit by Revoltech also. And he has that light up feature in the chest. So there's how they compare together in size. And looking at our cable beside a Black Series carbonized Stormtrooper, you see that he looks pretty good with him. Cable's a little taller. And there he is with One Punch Man's Genos, and they look pretty good together. Genos is a cyborg, part organic, part machine, but I love that action figure. He's just special to me. I think he's cool, but he looks good beside Cable. Obviously, Cable's taller. And there is our Cable next to G.I. Joe's Duke by Hasbro. They're looking good together, just a tad shorter than Cable, but hey, that looks pretty good. And there's our Cable next to Thanos by Bandai Spirit, and they look really cool together. Of course, Thanos is taller than our Cable. And there's our Cable next to Marvel Legends Doctor Doom, and that's really cool. They both have shiny parts, but they look good together. Cable is a little taller. And here's Cable next to the Masters of the Universe Classics Roboto. Actually, that's my customized version. That is the Classics head that came with one of the head packs, but I used the body from the Multiverse Superman by McFarlane Toys. That's the Unchained armor that I used to customize and make that Roboto. But he looks really cool next to Cable. Roboto's a little taller. And these two look like they could go head to head. Our Cable next to Marcus Felix by Storm's Collectible from Gears 5. Cool. They look good together. And here's our Cable next to Samus from Metroid, and he's kind of wishing he could flirt here, I think, with her. And she is so cool, and I'm loving my Samus from Metroid from Figma. And if you've seen my video on that, you know that I am using my Mythic Legions Gwendolyn Heavens brand action figures head. This is the unhelmeted head, and it fits great on this Samus to give her an unhelmeted version for Samus. But there's Cable next to Samus. And last but not least, to Flying Fist He-Man with the young Mike Young looking head on that buck of Masters of the Universe Classics. Flying Fist He-Man, I really like him with the youthful looking head on top. But there he is beside Cable, and they look like they're an even match as far as height. They're about the same height. They look really good together. And I may even use Cable once I've painted his trim, that yellow brown. I think I may even use Cable in my Motu Classic stories. I just love this figure, and figures that I really love, I like to use them a lot in things and photos and stuff. So I may pair him with people like, you know, Man-at-Arms and different ones to go along with the Motu Classic story. Thank you for joining us today. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Yes, hit that bell. And just when you give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down, what that does is it helps YouTube's algorithm to send this video to others so they discover it. And if you subscribe, it also publicizes this channel so others can discover my reviews. So it just really helps out a lot. This is my hobby. It's not for monetized videos at this point. So just appreciate your help there, and thank you for joining us. God bless. Catch you on another Super Dave special review.